When I stitch current creator content, I try and pop this slide up before and after to spotlight my goals and what aren't my goals. And I think it's relevant here when I'm doing deep dives on historical work as well. I talked before about how multifactorial this work is that we're doing. There's historical scope, there's societal influences, there's theological assumptions, there's a lot going on. And also the way individual impact was mitigated or wasn't in different families. And reels are limited. And I'm doing a deep dive. I really am. Maybe it's helpful to say, I am reading these resources. I'm taking notes for the research, for the work we're doing to address all of those factors in the book. But the reels here are basically a limited putting things under a microscope. And there are obvious limitations with that. But the goal in doing that is primarily the second category here, to offer vocabulary, to name common themes, to generate conversation around that, to empower people to name for themselves things that happen in their own experience, to think critically about current parenting content or things they maybe have believed, to examine underlying theological assumptions. Because it's worth saying with all of this that it can be easy to stand in our 2024 shoes and put a resource under the microscope with our 2024 eyes. Be like, why would they ever imagine training a child like training a dog would be beneficial? But we are being sold promises and aspirations and longings that we are currently unable to see with clarity. Said elsewhere, I don't think it's canceling any public teacher to examine their teaching critically at all. I think it's necessary. I think it's important for the Christian, especially to do this with Christian teaching. We can name the problems, we can identify them, we can name them with clarity, we can talk about the impact. Honestly, I think we need to be able to reckon with the harm and the betrayal, while also coming with a humility that says our turn will come to a certain degree. Hopefully we will do better. Hopefully we will learn to behave in kinder ways toward children. But there will be other problems that we didn't see because we were trying to mitigate for something else. And I do think this is where the generational impact happens, because often if you talk to older parents, you will hear this, that the things that their adult children maybe came to them and said were painful or a problem were not the things the parent was actively trying to correct. They were maybe actively trying to correct something from their own childhood, and they were trying to maybe offer something different, and they were doing that, but maybe unaware of this, because you can't know what you don't know. I don't think that gives people of the past a pass. I don't think it has to be either canceling them or saying, oh, well, there's no responsibility anyone should take, because not everyone was falling for this. But I do think understanding that and approaching with charity can help us avoid dehumanizing people of the past as well and other generations, or sitting in an easy judgment on them when they were equipped in a different cultural moment. I think it's an important part of dethroning parental authorities is to say they're not omnicompetent or infallible. Anyway, I think this is just me spotlighting this again. These are the goals with many of these stitches. I'm glad you're here for the conversation. I love hearing from you. One of my goals is that this can be a space where adult children reckoning with the harm of what they experienced, current parents navigating the wealth of parenting advice, and older parents attempting to understand what's going on could all have a conversation and recognize that there were varying impacts, but this kind of teaching betrays everyone. It betrays everyone.